I was at home. It was the usual Sunday night. My phone started going off. Something had happened at the Waukesha Christmas parade.
When I got down to the scene, many of the children were critically injured. We got to the point where we ran out of backboards and cervical collars for their necks. Many of the businesses down there took doors off of their interior, and we were able to use those as backboards. I remember calling to the pediatric ICU, and I said, "We are going to be getting a mass casualty. This is not a drill." And they told me, "We are ready for this."
When I got the message that something had happened, it was one of those times that you just knew you were needed somewhere and you needed to go.
The response was organic. It was people that were watching the news, they were watching the social media feed. They said, "I gotta come in."
There was just this air of not knowing what was coming and wanting to be ready for anything.
Everybody did their job. The patient would come in, the team would take care of that child, they would take that child out, and we'd get the room ready for the next one.
There was a lot of neurologic and head trauma that went with this. Almost all of them had breathing tubes, needed to be on ventilators.
Part of the challenges was not only deciding if a patient required an operation, but whether a patient required the operation faster than this other patient. We were in the operating room all night.
In the moment, it's all just the adrenaline and do what you need to do to take care of these kids. And then you take a step back and the tragedy hits hard.
We tend to focus on the care that the patients need when they're in the hospital. But after an event like this, you have to think about what happens when you leave the hospital. Their bones may have been fixed, their head injuries may be healing, but there was still a lot of effects of the event in their lives.
One of the biggest parts about the healing from this is the recognition that people that have been impacted by this aren't just the people that were injured.
There's memories everywhere. There's triggers everywhere. There isn't an hour that goes by that I don't think I see something or get reminded of him in some way.
Jackson was, he was the troublemaker. He was the...
He's full energy.
Yeah. This is his jersey. This is actually the one that he was wearing in the parade, too.
He died in the Waukesha Christmas parade. It's so hard to make sense of it. People always come up and will ask, well, how are you doing? And that's a very complex answer to really, explain that.
Somebody randomly asks you, how many kids do you have? That's a tough question now. I remind myself every day how close we came to losing both boys. Tucker was the big brother. Because they're in the parade, they were next to each other, they both got hit. For years, we instilled in him, you look out for your brother, you protect your brother. And for a while, Tucker was kind of beating himself up. He kept saying, he's like, Mom, why didn't I grab him? Why didn't I try? Why didn't I, and it was heartbreaking.
We say at Children's, mental health is health. There's not a distinction, and this type of event really highlights it.
He goes to counseling, we go to counseling. I think you need to talk about this stuff to really figure out how to wrap your head around this stuff.
The recognition in our community is that there are the psychological injuries. This is still part of the conversation that happens in Waukesha County. People are coming and rallying to do more for people to heal, and people are coming and rallying to do that more part of it.
We had an outpouring of support from the local community. There was a genuine desire to heal things and to be a part of the healing process for these kids and for these families and for the Waukesha community. And to me, that's the silver lining.
We see so much of the negativity in the news and so much of the bad stories that are out there that we fail to recognize that whether it be the Waukesha community, the Milwaukee community, the Children's Hospital, they're good people at heart. They want to be there to help each other, to support each other, to be there in times of need.
After what we went through, every moment that something nice happened or someone did something to help us or the community did something to help us, it was 5-10 minutes, a half an hour of just some joy. This community coming together, it felt like there is good in the world.
It was pretty amazing to see all the little specks of light coming from that dark moment.
I think one of the positive things I can take from my personal experience is how the people that I work with are ready to serve their community in the best way they can. You see a completely different community level of support.
We, as a medical community, were able to come together to help these families and these children in some small way to heal.
The forces that pull us together, ultimately, are stronger than those that pull us apart. When your community needs you, you get that call and everyone showed up, everyone answered the call.